This is Standard Radio, time 0020 Possible. Montreal International Airport. Montreal International Airport. Valid from the 3rd at 0000 Zulu until the 3rd at 2400 Zulu. Wind variable, 3 knots. Visibility more than 6 miles. Sea clouds at 24,000. From 0800 Zulu, wind variable, 3 knots. Visibility more than 6 miles. Clear. Probability 0%. 0800 Zulu until 1300 Zulu. Visibility 1/2 mile. Fog. Ceiling 200 broken.
Hello, Nick here. Just picked up another radio a couple days ago. It's German, but it did not come from Germany. It came to me from around here somewhere. And it's a Grundig Satellite 650. And it's really cool. I say some of the features and things it does. And so let's talk a little bit about it. So this thing was made, I think they started making these in either 1985 or 1987, something like that. Because I got some documentation or literature with it when I bought it. And I think the retail price was $1,150 retail in like 1987. A lot of money back then. And so yeah, this was like the rich man's radio. Anyway, so this was Grundig when Grundig was Grundig, not now when Grundig is eaten. Okay, so fake Grundig, I call them. So anyway, most of the controls are pretty straightforward. Power, you got 2 different speakers. You got, if you look down here, you get a tweeter option, or you can turn it off and put it on external. Obviously headphone jack. There's when you're on battery, the light doesn't come on, so it saves your battery power. So you can hit that for a momentary switch for the lights, or you can check your battery by flipping that up, and you can read it on there. Automatic noise limiter. These are pretty self-explanatory. Bandwidth control has 3 bandwidths. You'll see, we're going to mess with them, and they all work really nice. It has an AGC RF gain control, identical to the Zenith Transoceanic D7000Y that I did a video on a couple of weeks ago. If it's fully counterclockwise clicked to the off position, that's AGC, and that's where you should probably leave it pretty much all the time. And then if you click it on and start turning it on, that's it. It becomes purely manual gain control, and it's extremely sensitive. I mean, it goes from 0, you're turning it, and it's like it'll peg out. It's like you really got to turn it really slowly and finely. So I'm thinking that that's really only for really weak signals or really fine detailed work. Then here's your mode switch, AM, and then lower sideband, upper sideband, and then this is a BFO. It's curious. You've got a selector here for lower and upper. Then they give you that. Well, I guess that's probably a good idea, because I'm going to compare this radio to this radio, even though this radio was probably made almost fully 10 years before the Grundig. But this one, I mean, it's an awesome radio, but it does not have a fine tune for SSB. And while you can tune this one very finely, a BFO would have been a nice addition on that one. But anyway, so let's get into and then it's got, obviously this one has a keypad and all this different stuff, memories and sets for the date, the time, and all this kind of stuff. But the cool thing on this one is the pre-selector. Now the Sony has a pre-selector, okay? You just twist it, and you can see 3, 5, 7, so 6. I'm in, in the 6 range. That you dial that up to the range you're in, and it blocks out all the stuff that's not in that range. And the pre-selectors, they work great for that. This has the same thing, and it works pretty much the same way, except it has a motor inside and it works automatically. So like if you punch in a frequency on here and you hit boom, and if you can turn the motor on and off. And if the motor's on, and let's say the channel here's also an analog dial too. So if the channel you're listening to is way over there, you put it in like da 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 da, enter, boom, and it'll go zzz, all the way over, and it'll perfectly dial in your pre-selector for maximum gain, and you can watch it on the meter. It's really cool. And then if you don't want to deal with that meter going every time you adjust it or change it or whatever, you just push this big button and it turns the motor off, but you can still adjust the pre-selector with this outer knob. The inner knob is for tuning frequencies, and it's detented, so you can't hear them, I can feel them. There's little notches. The signal meter does not read like a normal, S meter. It's mostly just like a reference 0 to 10, which it's fine enough, because when you're using your pre-selector, you just want to peak it out anyway. So it works fine. And the display is good, and you can see on here where it says auto pre-select. So if I push this button, that will go out. All right, so we were on USB listening to a Volmet.
5 miles, light snow, ceiling 1,500 overcast.
So let's go down to like, I think there's a station at 6115. So we'll put this on AM, and we'll type in 6.115. You see that? Jumps. Oh, I put 6.7, sorry, 6.115.
8 ports of entry. Now, in West Virginia, my friend, you have a port of entry. You have an official port of entry at your airport there.
Yeah, so that thing follows wherever you tune. And obviously, if you think you're all anal about it, you're gonna wear it out or whatever, you just turn it off, and you can just manually chase the pre-selector like you have to do on the Sony anyway. So it's cool that they give you that option. So before we go into shortwave though, let's quickly just touch on FM, because this radio sounds amazing. So your modes are up here. So FM. Now see how this light went off, because there's no FM scale up there. FM is only on here. All right, so it saves you power by turning that off.
But it's an incredible experience. You talk about development of people skills. There's no.
See, now I'm not going to put on music. Maybe I can find a different talk radio here. Hold on. And the pre-selector doesn't work in FM.
They know how to play big boy football.
Yeah.
And so they got a deal now. We're gonna beat
might
you
be
down
able to
in the
hear
first
that
quarter.
differentiation
We're gonna score
when
a lot
I
of
throw
points
the
in
tweeter
the
on.
second quarter, and we're gonna make you come get us.
Yeah.
Right.
That is what the Cowboys need to adapt going into the second part of the season. That way our defense can stay.
All right, so let's quickly do FM on here, and then we'll get down to the meat and potatoes with shortwave.
Purchased it, or he was in business as a partner. Then when he became, the full owner, then he kind of changed the dynamic of it. But it was, it was a bar that was a quarter mile from J&L Steel Millgate.
So obviously my iPhone microphone is not going to do this justice, all right? But this sounds nice, very, very nice. This one sounds great. Maybe it's because that extra tweeter that they throw in there, I don't know. If you look at the speaker grade, it's twice the size of this one. But This one really sounds amazing. And incidentally, the bandwidths don't work on FM. It's fixed at whatever they select. So, so before we start, both radios are on my Wellbrook antenna mounted outdoors. Let me go around the back and show you the connections. So if you watched my Sony video before, you saw this where I've got a couple alligator clips clipping in there. You probably can't see it because of the lighting, but you flip a switch there, and then I've got that going to coax to my Wellbrook. And then over here, thank God I had it. This Grundig uses a special connector, and so I had like an adapter, so it was probably 6 inches long, and you plug that in, and then the other end is a BNC to go onto the coax, and there's a button you push, so you push it in or you let it out, and it'll select the external antenna. So both of these radios are on my Wellbrook antenna mounted outdoors, and if you've watched some of my previous videos, you know that I'm not a fan of running portable radios on external basically fixed antennas. It's like, it defeats the purpose of having a portable radio. But let's take this one step further. Having a radio that weighs 20 pounds without batteries also defeats the purpose of having a portable radio. No one's carrying these things around. These are going to be used basically as desktops, easily portable or relocatable desktops, but still desktops. But you can, you could still use it as a portable if you feel like carrying it. I mean, with batteries in it, this has got to be 23 pounds, and the Sony is even heavier. So yeah, so we're testing it right now on the Wellbrook. I'll probably get motivated to do a test comparison on just the whips between these two radios. Maybe I'll take them outside on my patio and set them up out there on a table and just do a quick shortwave test on the whips just to see what's going on. But we'll do this tonight on the Wellbrook, and we'll see if they overload. Well, we already know how the Sony's going to perform because I did a video on it. The Sony is awesome. All right, but we'll see if the Grundig is going to overload because of the, the nice signal that the Wellbrook brings in or whatever. But all right, so enough talking. Let's start spinning dials and knobs. Shortwave. So we are at the Wellbrook on this radio.
Whatever generation you're in, if you want more energy, better health, and a boost in vitality, we invite you to try Grundig's Carbon 60, a stunning development in free radical destruction.
Watch the meter. I'm going to tune the pre-selector. Actually, I'm going to turn it off, and then I'm going to manually tune it.
To quickly mend the toxin-crippled cells in your body. Grundig's Carbon 60 is the only C60 product that is made without the use of undesirable solvents. The only one. Grundig's Carbon 60.
So that's a pretty strong signal. This time of night on 49 meters, 6070 is usually, that's Toronto or Montreal, I keep forgetting, but it's a Canadian broadcast station. Let's try the Sony. I just flipped the Wellbrook over. You probably saw the meter jump. peek it if it's not already. It's sounding pretty good right there. So let's quickly go back here. Yeah, so this signal is coming stronger by the minute here as the sun goes down. It's probably about 7:30 p.m. in Dallas, Texas. I'm going to say they're probably both getting it about the same. When I first tried this one and I quickly went over to this one, the Sony sounded a little better, but then when I went back to this one sounded the same. That's because the signal's coming up and getting stronger, like I said, literally by the minute. So, and plus I've been playing with this radio, so I pretty much know that it's going to perform about the same as the Sony as far as sensitivity. There's not a big difference. Let's see, for the selectivity, let's see if I can find some stations that are close together and see how it performs.
We have 300, again, 300.
There's something on 65 and 70, and they're both really weak. I wish I had one of my Spectrum scopes out here to show you, but I don't. But if you couldn't hear it through this iPhone microphone, I could hear it. So there's something on 65 and there's something on 70, and they're both really, really weak. Let's see how the Sony handles that. Oh, sorry, I gotta flip the Wellbrook. The Sony's picking the 65 up, pretty much the same as the Grundig, but the Sony's struggling, or at least to me it seemed, it's struggling on 6170 a little bit more than the Grundig. Let's try it again. that one more time. I can hear the Grundig. I can hear that voice coming through. Oh, it wasn't even peaked. Anyway, it comes and it goes. So I'm gonna say that you'd be in good shape with either one of these radios as far as sensitivity goes on the external antenna. Obviously, this is not a comparison to the whips, whereas like if you were some rich dude and you had this out on your yacht, well, if you were a rich dude on a yacht, you'd probably hook up, if you were smart, you'd probably hook up a Wellbrook or something and run it like that. But if you just, were lazy and you just wanted to carry it out there, then you could run it on your whip. And so I'll try that later in another video, and we can see that, how they work on their whips. But it's working pretty well, pretty great, pretty good. So let's just tune around a little bit, try a couple more stations, signals. Turn the pre-selector back on. And if you manually tune with this back dial, the pre-selector will jump as it tries to keep up with you. Let's try some more 49 meters. All right. Now, notice how we don't hear anything? Watch what happens when I hit the pre-selector. Bam!
We had a code enforcement officer the first day the mails arrived, and before we even sent an email out saying that there was one did define their positions, but both try to maintain their autonomy in terms of their affiliation to the party. For example, the head of the Canada region of the Visco Beach openly criticized.
For the American Martin, there were also justified comparisons with the most brilliant and mediatic man in the history of print. Suffice it to say that the boy from Tampa, world record voter.
All right, let's quickly dial that same stretch from 5.8 to 6.0 on the Sony. Oh, I got to change my. That's another thing with the Sony, because you saw how that thing works. But yeah, so and flip the Wellbrook.
From every corner of the world.
called International for National Health that brings care and necessities to afflicted victims and communities. Thank you, all the real voices for taking time and considering your own country and describing great districts and unfavorable roads and conditions to bring love and assistance.
So the new mayor needed to devote himself 100% to the town, implying that Fuad, as a member of the parliament, did not have the capacity to do so. Behind the clear victories of Matuš Valo in Bratislava and Juraj Droba at the head of the Bratislava self-governing region, she sees above all the majority center-right mood of voters in Bratislava, combined with modern progressive thinking, typical especially of the younger generations. The political scientist said the opposing candidates' campaigns also indicated that they did not foresee success. That was the politics of today. And now let's go back in history to the politics of building the Soviet Union.
In the spotlight.
Renaissance Litera is a Slovak literary prize awarded once a year for the best original Slovak prose. This year, the Leaders Prize went to journalist Lukáš Ondorčanin for his first documentary novel, Utopia and Lenin's Garden, from the Absinthe Publishing House.
I decided to write a book about the Czechoslovak international commune in Kyrgyzstan, where Alexander Dubček, one of the leading persons of the Prague for a couple of years.
So that gives now several layers of interest. How did you get to...
So the Sony is sounding a little better to me. That's a pretty strong signal. And while obviously you can easily hear it on both, this one is sounding, just the sound quality, a little bit better. I just kind of noticed that.
Then when I traveled around, I thought to myself that more than 1,000 people from Czechoslovakia came here during the 1920s, and they kind of built parts of the one of the members of this Interhopo commune. And I realized there is not much written in Slovakia about this episode of his life, which probably shaped his ideas later, because as a child he experienced many different forms of communism, I would say, in this like international commune. He experienced the Stalinism purchase in 30s and 40s, so it definitely had a big impact on his life, even it's not like very well researched topic because he was a small child, but it was definitely interesting to see.
No, they both sound really, really nice. So, all right, we're at 28 minutes, so if any of you freaks are still hanging in here with me, all right, you got it as bad as I do. I like that in you. Anyway, so, yeah, we already know, or at least I know, the Sony is awesome. And this is working great, too. I had actually read a couple of old reviews on this Grundig, and, you know, they didn't have a lot of good to say about it. The guy that wrote the review, I forget which magazine it was, but said he didn't like the filters or the filter selection or something like that. And I'm like, I love the filters. I think they work great. And I've got it on a Wellbrook antenna, pretty much for household use or whatever. I mean, this is like the best antenna you can get, short of putting up some, you know, NSA spook antenna or something in your backyard. And yeah, so it's not overloading, working great. Works great on, let's go down to long wave, see if it works. Now, long wave in this will default to the ferrite bar, okay? There is a selection over here where you can plug, again, you got to have that special connector, and you can plug a special long wave directional antenna that Grundig sold. Obviously, I don't have one. And then you can flip this switch between ferrite bar and this connector. So I have to leave it on ferrite. Let's see if we can get my long wave station at, there it is, 0.365. Oh, see that? I got nothing because I got to hurt the pre-selector. Booming in. Nice. And the Sony won't even tune down that low. You can't. You can't even tune the Sony down. I think. Oh, what the hell? We're here. Let's try it. But I don't think I can. All right. So let's go down to 0. All right. Yeah. Yeah. No, it won't. When you put this on 0. It just blanks you out. It won't, yeah, so apparently this won't let you go under, that's weird. Apparently the Sony won't even go down to like 800. Interesting. All right, well, whatever. I don't listen to the Sony down there anyway. But, yeah, no, I'm very happy with the Grundig. I think it's way cool with that automatic pre-selector. It's like a toy to play with, and it works very, very well. And the radio works great. I mean, no overloading, nice selectivity. It's very sensitive. You just saw all that. So if you were, some rich dude back in the 80s or whatever, and you needed to bring a radio out onto your yacht, these would probably be 2 of the ones that you might be choosing from. There'd be other ones, that would work great too. But these are 2 big boys, and like I said, they're not small. And even though they're called portables, I really don't consider them portables because they're really, really heavy and really big. So, but anyway, next time you see me, hopefully I'll be out on the back patio testing these with the whip. All right, thanks for hanging out.